So I've got the next 20 minutes or so to teach you how to master the most profitable, powerful, and romanticized skill in the world. Sounds pretty heavy, huh? But here's what I want you to understand. The point of this video and the point of the rest of the videos in the series is not to show you how to make money in the market. They're specifically focused on helping you understand what it takes to trade like a professional. And let me just clarify that by professional, I don't mean how many hours a week you put into it, or really even how much money you make. And not just make it now and then, but make it month after month. Take your family on vacation with the money that you've made in the market. Go on trips. Support your family. Pay tuition. Supplement your retirement. Pay your mortgage, right? You want to support yourself and the people you love with profits you pull out of the market. If that's what you want, then I need to know one thing right now. Why? Why are you trading? That's it. What are you hoping to accomplish? When I ask traders this, the answer is almost always the same. I trade because I want to make money, right? Well, you know what? That's BS. Nobody trades just to make money. Let me use a conversation I had recently with a client, a friend of mine named Robert, as an example. Now, Robert is 57 years old, and he started, messing around with the options market about 18 months ago. And he's been doing it really seriously for about the last 6 months. Now, the back and forth between Robert and I went something like this. Robert, why did you start trading options? I mean, what are you wanting to accomplish? Well, I want to supplement my income. Okay, and why do you want to supplement your income, Robert? Because I want to make more money every month. Okay, I get that, but tell me a little bit more. Why do you want to have more money every month? Well, because then I can start paying off more debt and saving for retirement. So now, at this point, Robert's defenses are starting to crack a little bit. So I continue pressing him. So why do you want to pay off your debt and save more? Well, because then I can have a larger nest egg, and I've got more money when I leave my employer. Now, all of this sounds really logical, right? And everyone wants more money in their 401k, I promise you, especially if you're getting close to retirement. But I'm here to tell you, it's not the real reason that he was trading. I was looking to get down to a more base level response, right? So I kept pushing. Why do you want more money in your 401k than what you have right now? Well, because of the rate I'm going, I'll never be able to retire, and I'm getting really sick of the company that I work for. Okay, so now at this point, we're getting down to it a little bit. Gritty stuff, emotional stuff. I was tempted to stop right there, but something told me that there was more desire, that there was more emotion in there. And I knew Robert trusted me, and so I felt comfortable enough to throw a real dagger at him. And I asked him, well, Robert, if you're so sick of the company that you work for, then why do you keep working there? It took him about 5 seconds, but he finally decided to just let it all go. Because I've been there for 30 years. I've busted my butt for those guys. Now I'm afraid they're going to let me go because they can hire some fresh out of college kid to do the same thing for less money. But I can't go to work for someone else and make the same money because of my age. There's no other place that I can go to make the money that I make right now, but I can't stand doing what I'm doing. And I've never really managed my money all that well. And I don't have enough money to retire. And if I leave, then I have no way of supporting my family. Okay, so now it's simple. Now Robert and I both know why he is really trading. It's not just about making money, right? It's about his emotions. It's about how he feels about his life. So this is the real reason we're here today. And it's what I want you to experience, to think about. To really challenge yourself to come away with by the time this video is over. And that is, why are you trading? What is the gritty gut level emotion that's driving you? What language are you using in your head as you trade? Making money is the goal, but it is not the reason. As corny as it may sound, that conversation with Robert is why I do this. That's why I've been in the mentoring business for the last 15 years. When you sit down with someone and have the conversation like the one I had with Robert, it changes you. I'm telling you, it gives you a whole new perspective into the hearts and minds of traders. Because I'm here to tell you, Robert is not alone out there. We always think of traders as these Manhattan born and bred, pinstripe wearing machismos. But that's not who they are. And more importantly, that's not who you are. So in the mentoring business, it's my job to understand that, and more importantly, to take that understanding and get results. And let's talk about results for just a little bit. And be honest with me now. Have you ever purchased an investment-related information product, a book, a DVD, whatever, got it in the mail, and then never read it? Okay, maybe you cracked the cover or watched the first 15 minutes of the presentation. But most traders have a pretty sizable library of stuff that they have never implemented, and they are not going to implement. I don't have that option. When someone invests in a year-long mentoring program, it has got to work, plain and simple. I have got to deliver. And at the risk of sounding arrogant, I do deliver every time. It's my job. But there's something else that comes to the surface when you work with someone one-on-one. What always bubbles up is that dirty little word that nobody in the investment world dares to utter: emotion. And truthfully, the human experience is nothing but a giant network of interconnecting emotions. Every single thing you do in life, every decision you make is based off of an underlying emotion. Being human equals being emotional, period. But again, that's not what they teach you in trading school, is it? What you hear is trading emotional is what? Horrible, a sin, masochistic, right? And if you trade with emotion, then you're going to end up what? Bankrupt, divorced, in the loony bin? So get a pen and a notepad out, because right now I am going to give you the prevailing success formula for trading. Okay, you ready? Okay, step one. Find a super sexy, super easy, but somehow super unknown trading secret that nobody else has stumbled upon in the last 3 millennia of trading, right? And it's a secret so powerful that it guarantees an immediate deposit of cash into your bank account, regardless of the trade you place. Then, step number 2, take that secret strategy and implement it every day, without ever letting a single shred of excitement or passion, disappointment or fear affect your trading decisions in any manner whatsoever. Okay? That's all it takes. So who's signing up, right? Who's with me? So feel free to disagree if you want, but in 15 years of helping people do this, of helping people achieving their financial dreams, I can tell you, it's pretty damned emotional. But what is it that really makes the difference, One guy's got, he's got 3 separate 24-inch monitors with trading screens full of every price and volume and momentum indicator ever known to man. He's running 12 different strategies on 25 different stocks, and he's on 6 different pick lists, and has, 3 different personal investment advisors. And you know what? He can't sleep at night. And then you see a guy over there who checks the stock prices on his dial-up internet once a day, right? He's trading a strategy that he pulled out of a 10-year-old book that he picked up at Barnes & Noble for $12.95, and he's tickled pink to be pulling in 2 to 4% returns every month. Now, are either of these guys trading unemotionally? Of course not. Nobody is. But I promise to walk you through exactly how this process works. So here it is. Every day you look at and analyze the market. And there's some pretty specific and important things that are happening there. An external perception comes along, a piece of information outside of your brain that you become aware of. And your brain starts immediately looking for the right place to store and compartmentalize that information. But if your brain determines that the information is important, then it's not just looking to store the information, it's got to assign a meaning to it. So how does the meaning get attached? Your brain finds the meaning by matching the information up with some existing set of experiences and beliefs. To be comfortable, your brain has to say, oh yeah, I know what that is, and I know how to deal with it. But here's the important part. Everything meaningful in our lives has corresponding emotions that are attached to it. Again, if it's meaningful, it is also emotional. So the more sensory experiences that you have every day, the more information you see, hear, or read, the more meaning your brain is going to assign, and the more emotions you are going to feel. So, understanding this, is more trading resources really what we need? Is being on 6 stock picking services going to lead to better results than being on 5? If you stop watching this video right now and go directly to another one on some other guy's site, is that going to double your chances of success? The volume of resources available to traders and the ease, convenience, and affordability of those resources is 1,000 times more than it was just 20 years ago. But it hasn't moved the needle one bit on the number of people successfully bringing in profits month in and month out. We don't need more resources. So we're out there desperately stumbling around looking for that new strategy, a magic little known piece of news, a new screener, a new guru, right? We're hoping that something, anything will come along and change up the pattern of our past failures that we have experienced. Now, the other traders might do that, right? We don't do that. Of course not. We know that nobody's going to change our trading patterns except for us. We know that in our heads, right? And don't get me wrong, it's important to know that in our heads. It's even more important to believe it. But to act on it is something different, isn't it? So have you ever looked at a stock, known what the proper trade was, and then done something different? Have you ever been in a losing trade and your signals and your gut told you it was time to get out, but you stayed in anyway? Okay, so this is real. This happens in our lives. We consistently act in ways that are out of line with what we know to be true in our heads. But if a trader isn't making the kind of money that he thought he would when he started trading, and you ask him why, what's the response going to be? Those dirty bankers stole my money, right? Or it's Obama, or it's George Bush, or heck, maybe it's Jimmy Carter, depending on how long they've been going around the block. Or maybe they just haven't found the right setup yet. Or they lost a bunch of money following some idiot guru who didn't know what he was talking about. Or maybe they can only spend a few hours a day on it because of their job. If they only had more time to do it, man, then they would see some bigger profits. I always tell my students, if they could see who these professional traders are, who are pulling in these profits month after month, then they would know that they already have 95% of what it takes to be successful. And the other 5% is pretty straightforward to get. Sure, there may be some technical instruction that needs to be done. There will likely be beliefs that you have about the market, about setups and strategies that need to change or be rethought, or new strategies that you haven't considered before. But here's the irony. None of that stuff will mean anything if you don't first fix what's going on in your head and in your heart, in that place where your intellect and your emotions come together. We talked earlier about important decisions being like earthquakes in our mind, and that emotions are the aftershocks. They ripple through your brain and shake your logical thoughts and decisions off of their foundations. But there's still something very important that almost nobody understands about emotions. Truthfully, most people have it completely backwards, and it virtually guarantees that they'll never be successful in the important areas of their life. The key piece of information that everyone is missing is this. Emotions are acts of science, not acts of will. Emotions are predetermined chemical responses. We're talking about chemistry here, and not the romantic dating type of chemistry either, like a guy in a lab coat putting blue stuff in beakers and petri dishes kind of chemistry. So emotions are caused by chemical reactions. You cannot control your emotions through self-discipline. Once the emotion is triggered, it causes a physiological response, and that response happens in your autonomic nervous system. It happens outside of your consciousness, in the part of your brain that controls the automatic functions of your body. I don't want to get too technical here, but if we step back a bit and really analyze what we're doing, you can immediately recognize how this stuff happens in your daily life. You already know this stuff deep down. So actions are caused by emotions, which are determined by what we believe about what we experience in life. So change only happens when you change your beliefs. Are you getting this? Is this sinking in? Emotion does not cause people to act irrationally. Irrational or illogical behavior comes from conflicting beliefs. So the strongest force that we have as human beings is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. This force is so powerful, in fact, that it acts like an internal mechanism that consciously and unconsciously affects every emotion we feel and every decision we make. But most of us have a definition of ourselves that hasn't been updated for 10 or 20 years or more. And for most of us, a big part of that definition was given to us by people in our lives who projected that definition of who we are onto us with the things that they taught us, or the way that they treated us, or just the example that they set for us. The fundamental reason that more knowledge and education doesn't bring better results is because it doesn't change who we believe we are. Without a change in beliefs, the same patterns of emotion continue, and the same patterns of action and the results that follow continue as well. So I want to finish up by talking about this inner mechanism. This mechanism that I've told you is the most powerful force in the human world. Professional traders rely on this inner mechanism to compel them to trade appropriately. They execute their trading at a professional level because they have an inner belief that that is who they are. But for that mechanism to exist for us, it also has to be supported by powerful and unquestioned beliefs. For better or worse, you cannot continually act in opposition to who you think you are. If you don't change the way you define yourself, you will always revert back to those old habits, the habits that were formed because they are in line with your self-image. Remember my friend Robert for a second here. Robert had given everything he had to his employer for 30 years, and they were thinking of letting him go. So did he get bitter? Did he get vengeful? Well, maybe for a little while. But ultimately, he chose to focus on something else. He chose to focus on what he really wanted, what his gut level emotions told him was important. And so he joined the mentoring program, not because he wanted more money every month, but because he wanted emotional strength. He wanted to feel good, and he had very clear and compelling reasons that aligned his trading with that definition of himself. And when your beliefs are aligned with your core motivation, that's the most powerful tool for increasing your results that any person can ever have. If he joined for any other reason than this, his likelihood of success would drop dramatically. So I'm going to ask you right now to do what Robert did. And no, I'm not going to ask you to join my mentoring program today, okay? But I am going to ask you to go through an exercise that will give you the same level of clarity and self-definition. What I've done here is design an exercise called Monetize Your Core Motivation. And here's what it's designed to do. The exercise is designed to help you overcome one of the biggest mistakes traders make, and that is entering into the business of trading with trading goals that, number one, aren't clearly defined. Number 2, aren't aligned with the specific actions that are necessary to achieve them. And number 3, aren't even aligned with what the trader is trying to accomplish, thus guaranteeing never to satisfy them, even if they do luck into a way of achieving them. So once you get 100% clear on why you're trading, then the process of selecting the right trading setups, the right instruments, the right strategies becomes dramatically simpler. And you can eliminate that awful feeling of being at the whim of whatever new promise of quick cash shows up in your inbox. So underneath this video, you'll see a download PDF link. Click on it and print out the exercise because we're about to do it right now. So pause the video if you need to and come back when you've got it ready. You've got it printed out, so let's get to it. The exercise is made up of 3 questions, all of which seem simple, but may take you several minutes to answer. Take whatever time is necessary, even if it takes 20 or 30 minutes of real pondering to answer them honestly and completely, because if you don't, nothing we do from here on out is going to have any impact whatsoever. Now, every professional trader knows the answers to these questions and could probably rattle them off to you in 30 seconds if you met them at a conference or on an elevator. If you want to see professional results, then you have to get to that point as well. Okay, question number 1. Imagine that you woke up tomorrow and knew in your head and in your heart that you were a successful trader. As you imagine having achieved the success that you sought since you began trading, think about how you would know you were successful and list the most specific and important things you would look to as a measure of that success. Number 2, and again, existing in the state of already being a successful trader, what are the 3 most important or meaningful things that are true about your life as a successful trader that are not true right now? And number 3, finally, and again, in the state of already being a successful trader, what are the 2 to 3 biggest things that you've overcome or changed about your old trading habits that have led to your success? So once you know the answers to these 3 questions, you'll have one of the biggest and most essential pieces to trading professionally. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to do this exercise now, then come back and do it again in a few hours. Then sleep on it for a night and come back to it one more time tomorrow. Now pay close attention to how your answers change and take time to think about the differences so that you can get clear on the answers. Also, I want you to be on very high alert for any traces of fear entering into this exercise. Now, you can spot fear if you find yourself reading through your first responses and saying, oh, that would be nice, but that's not really reasonable, or oh, I could be happy with a lot less than that. If these thoughts are a part of the conversation, stop immediately and come back later. Remember, we're seeking for clarity here. Clarity on what you want and why you want it. What we really want in life, the things that are most important to us, should not and cannot be determined by what the world tells us is reasonable and realistic. They're a part of who we are from the very beginning of our lives. The process of getting clarity here is a process of discovery, not of planning, budgeting, or managing, okay? I want you to discover, even if it's for the first time in your life, what it is that you want in your heart and in your gut. So do the exercise. Do it now or later today, if at all possible, because I want you to have a chance to review your answers a few times before I send you the next video in a few days. Because in the next video, we're going to take this idea of finding your core motivation and align it with the answers you've given here in the exercise to give you a leverage tool that will allow you to start trading with the powerhouse traders in the market and start taking profits from traders who don't have these tools, rather than being the one who's always getting taken. Now, maybe that sounds a little harsh, but again, we're here talking about how money really gets made in the business of trading. And straight up, that's how it happens. So go through the exercise. Go through it again later today and one more time tomorrow. And then I want you to be on the lookout for the next video where we're going to take everything that we've done and everything that we've learned and we're going to crank it up a notch And we're going to get you one giant step closer to seeing professional returns from your trading. So I look forward to seeing you then.